Welcome to Modders Mods, ladies and gentlemen. So I did some modifications to the Nexus Pro X, some internal mods that is. What I did was that first thing I did was I removed the spring, okay? When I took the spring out, I noticed it was a very long spring. So I started going around to my stash of various springs and I found this guy. This is a 1.8 worker Swift spring. This spring is the exact same length as the stock spring, if that tells you anything. Okay. So I decided to try this spring first. I dropped it in and it lowered the performance of the blaster. Instead of 190 to 200, it was shooting about 180 or so. So I decided not to use that. So then I started thinking about maybe compression, maybe using spacers or something like that. So I cut a 1-inch piece of brass and I tried that as a spacer. And when I did that, it gave me to like 215 or so, okay? 215 FPS on a 1-inch piece of spacer. So I cut this guy. This is a 2-inch piece of brass. Just the same brass that you would use to make a brass barrel with, but I cut it to 2 inches. I tried it. When I ran it over my chronograph, I was getting speeds at 230. So I decided to be a little greedy at that point. I took the stock spring back out, took the spacer off. I put this spring back in. Then I proceeded to put the spacer in too. The spring and spacer combo. I was able to get one shot with 240. Okay, I didn't destroy the blaster, thank God, but it just didn't feel the greatest. I'll put it to you that way. So I think that's a little bit too much for it. So if you guys are looking for power out of this blaster, the best way to do it is to use the stock spring for now and to just make yourself a 2-inch spacer, okay? That's the best way in the world to do it. If anybody 3D prints out there and wants to make it, they certainly can, by all means. An idea is an idea, and it's always a free idea, the way I feel about it. But like I said, that's what I did, and I got my blaster to shoot 230. I also did a couple other changes to it too, ladies and gentlemen. One of the changes I did was that this stock. I mean, it's a nice stock, and it functions great, but to me, it just doesn't feel right for me. And modifications are all about making things your own. So what I did was I just put on a nice worker stock right here, and now it feels a lot better, shoulders a lot easier. It's actually rather nice. The other thing I did too was that, you see this grip right here? This is the original grip that came with the blaster. I removed this grip because this grip felt terrible to me. I mean, some people may like it, some people may not, and I changed it out for a worker VFG. This is Picatinny Royale underneath that grip, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, so that will help you out. I also removed the little sidecar thing as well that held the P car. I just kind of felt that made this blaster be too bulky, and I wanted to make it more appealing, so I just removed it. Which is rather nice. I mean, and 230 FPS for $50, it's not bad. So I mean, this blaster definitely was a surprise to work on. I was rather, and I actually enjoyed working on this blaster, and it's rather nice. It is a cool blaster. It truly is. It's definitely well worth the money. I mean, 230 FPS for basically $50 plus the cost of 2 inches of brass. I mean, come on now. You can't beat that with a stick. I mean, it is wow. It truly is impressive. And as I said, that's all I did. You can do whatever you want with your blaster, but for me, just make a spacer, call it a day. It is the cheapest way to do it, And I know people are going to start making spacers probably after they see my video, which is fine, and I'm okay with it, The one other thing I would like to see somebody come up with is a safety delete for this blaster if they could. I haven't yanked out the safety yet on this thing, but I do plan on doing that as soon as somebody makes a delete. I also would like a delete for the Aeon too, if anybody's making those. I mean, this is definitely very nicely done. This blaster felt better than the original version. The plastic seemed more, it seemed more sturdier, seemed rigider, than the original Nexus Pro. So it's definitely a better platform than the original. I mean, I'm still not 100% convinced about the oval plunger tube, but if Dart Zone says that they're going to make an upgraded spring for this thing, and they actually do, when it does 230, 240, which I believe this blaster could probably hit 240. I got one shot at 240 out of it, so I know at least it's good to that. So, like I said, if they could make an extra spring for this thing, it would be great. You know, I mean, I was just impressed with this blaster with the modifications I was able to do with it with just such a small budget. I mean, just it truly is an impressive blaster. I believe this blaster to be in the running for Blaster of the Year right now, and it's only April. You know, but in any event, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll put a buy link in the description below for the blaster. And until next time, this is Miller's Mods signing off.